No. Okay. We need to open up our Greek culture assignment from yesterday. So please get that opened up. All right. So if we scroll down to social studies, it is still the last thing that we did, Greek culture. You'll need to open up the Google documents
Follow my Twitter. That's where I
that
get
you started,
I love you guys. Please use code Techie.
The Greek culture.
as well as the cultural stations too. So you should have the Google Doc with your answers on it. So you should have stations 1 through 5 done already.
How many stations are there again?
There's 10. So we did 1 through 5 yesterday. We will do 6 through 10 today. So hopefully you are caught up. If not, you need to make sure you go back and finish stations 1 through 5. This is a grade, so make sure you are completing it. Complete sentences and all of that stuff. So we're going to scroll down on our Google Doc to station number 6, and that's where we're going to start. Okay, we're going to start with talking about station 6, Greek art. So the questions you will be looking for on this one, Skylar, focus on it, please. Number 19, what did the Greeks consider to be the best form of art or sculpture? Number 20, why do we study ancient Greek pottery so much rather than any other art? Number 21, what can we learn from studying ancient Greek artwork? And number 22, who is Phidias and why was he important to Greek artwork?
Wait, are we gonna have to video today?
If we have time at the end.
Finally, we watch video.
We said if we have time.
There's also a little part right here that at the bottom that says Greek style statues have been copied, enjoyed, and thought of as some of the best works of art for thousands of years by people all around the world. Why or what do you think would be the one thing that everyone remembers from your generation in America thousands of years down the road? I can think of one thing immediately. So we're going to go ahead and go to our PDF, and I'm going to scroll down to station 6, 4, 5, and 6. So we have some stuff to read here. I'm going to zoom in. Like we've been doing, I will read it to you, and you guys will answer the questions. Capiche? Sound good? Okay. Station 6, Greek art. Greek art reflected the Greeks' views of themselves and their world. First, Greek art glorified human beings. Greek painters and sculptors idealized their human subjects. In other words, the faces and figures of men and women represented the Greek ideal of beauty. The statues also suggested other traits admired by the Greeks, such as strength, intelligence, pride, grace, and courage. Greek art symbolized Greek pride in their city-states. Art was meant for public enjoyment, and the architecture of public buildings was meant to be a monument to the power and glory of the polis, or the city, in Greek. Through art, Greeks tried to win the favor of gods. So this is a little bit about why art was important to them and all of that stuff. Many Greek sculptures portrayed the gods, and these sculptures were placed inside temples, thus honoring the gods that they portrayed. The Greeks used many different types of materials in their sculptures, including stone, marble, and limestone, as they were abundant in Greece. So abundant means that there was a lot of them, a lot of these types of stones. One of the most famous statues was created to honor the goddess Athena. Pericles appointed the sculptor Phidias to direct the building of the Parthenon as a house for Athena. Phidias also created a statue of Athena for the Parthenon's interior. He made the statue of gold and ivory, and when finished, Phidias's creation stood more than 30 feet tall. So that's like 3 stories high. Like that's how big this statue was. It's huge, especially for the ancient Greeks. It could, yeah. Very few Greek painted pictures have survived the 2,500 years since they were painted. Therefore, most of what we know about the Greek art comes from the pictures that they painted on fancy pottery. This is an answer to a question. Pottery, even if it gets broken, can be put back together, and a good deal of it has survived whole, mostly in Etruscan tombs. I don't know, Etruscan? Greek painted pottery changed a good deal over time, from the Stone Age to the Hellenistic period. So here's some pottery down at the very bottom. And then this statue right here says, this marble statue is entitled The Discus Thrower and was crafted by Myron during the mid-400s BCE. Well, discus is that one where you go in a circle and you like throw it. So he's probably, it's just the way that, yeah, he's going in a circle. So it's just the way it looks. But yeah. So you have 4 questions to be answering here, 19 through 22. You may be copy and pasting, that is fine, but you need to be answering these 4 questions, and I'll give you guys 5 minutes or so. It doesn't say that exactly, but basically, what did they draw or sculpt that meant the most to them? What did they mainly draw and sculpt? Yeah, of what though?
He's a big statue. I mean, no.
But yeah, statues of what?
Hades, no.
I mean, gods in general, right? Gods or goddesses? Yeah. Yeah. All right, a couple minutes on this one. Mm-hmm. Hades is a god.
I don't get 21.
Well, they painted. What did the Greeks paint most of the time?
Mostly men.
But what can we learn from that? Like, they painted things that happened to them. So what can we learn from what they painted?
What? They like to keep stories. They like to go to war. Are you guys seeing movies of Greeks going to war?
Is the 22nd question, like, where is it? Is it in the upper half or is it in the bottom half?
What is this one?
Who is created? Who lies in forest and artwork?
It's, I think, the lower half. It's in the 3rd paragraph. Does she focus? Okay, about 2 more minutes on this one, and then we're gonna move on.
Oh, I was giving you
Yeah.
thinking about, like, the guy that
hopefully. Mm-hmm. All right. So that was station number 6. There are quite a few on this next one. If you want to answer this question as well, you can. What do you think will be the one thing that everyone remembers from our generation?
Cars.
No.
COVID.
Yeah. That's what I was thinking too.
What about cars?
Station 7 is about Greek architecture. No. So Greek architecture is like the buildings and how they builded things. Put them away and get to work, please. Thank you. 23 says, what type of architecture did the Greeks develop? Number 24, what is the special about the building of the Parthenon? 25, how is architecture like art in ancient Greek? 26, which column style do the Romans borrow most often? 27, which column style is used all over Greece because of how sturdy it is? And then that last bonus question, can you think of any buildings that you've seen that have columns in them? They're going to show them. Okay. These are columns, the big white pillars. Those are columns. Okay, so Greek architecture. Greek architects designed temples, theaters, meeting places, and wealthy citizens' homes. Like the sculptors, the architects worked to create beautiful buildings with graceful proportions. Several distinct elements appeared in the architectural works. One element was a column. Often, a series of columns, called a colonnade, was placed around the outside of a building. The Parthenon is probably one of the best examples of Greek architecture. Back then, this is what it would have looked like, a nice, massive temple. It was built for Athena.
Is that just a drawing?
This is a drawing, yes. On the left, this is a drawing.
I thought it was real.
Okay. On the right is what it looks like now, with real pictures.
What made it like that?
Over time, it's just collapsed.
But it was getting old.
It's over 2,500 years old. Yeah.
Oh, it's really old. So it started collapsing.
Yep.
Old school building.
Okay, so it says the Parthenon displayed the temple from that. Wow. The Parthenon displayed the temple form that was most often used. It had a 4-sided colonnade around a room built to house the statue of the goddess Athena. Sculptural designs that portrayed scenes in Athena's life were put in the pediments of the Parthenon. So on the inside, you can't really see it. It's not in the pictures. There was that big 30-foot statue of Athena inside, and then around the outside were these rows of columns. The Greeks developed 3 architectural systems and columns, called orders, each with their own distinctive proportions and detailing. The Greek orders were Doric, Ionic, and Corinthian. Sorry. So these are the different types. Our first one is Doric. The Doric style is rather sturdy, and its top, the capital, is very plain. So the top up here is very plain. It's just nice and sturdy. This style was used in the mainland of Greece and in the colonies of southern Italy and Sicily. Never mind, hang on. Huh? Yeah, over time, it just hasn't been able to withstand the elements of earth. The Corinthian type of column. So, the Corinthian style is seldom used in the Greek world, but often seen on Roman temples. This is an answer to a question. Its capital, the top, is very elaborate and decorated with acanthus leaves. So it's a type of leaf. Corinthian. Yeah. And then finally, the Ionic. The Ionic style is thinner and more elegant. Its capital, or the top of it, is decorated with a scroll-like design. This style was found in eastern Greece and on the islands. So there's your 3 types of columns. I think that's it for this one. And that's it for that station. So I'm going to give you guys a few minutes to be working on those questions here, 23 through 27.
Are we gonna, in this one, are we gonna talk about all three columns in that? Like, you know,
No.
well,
Hmm.
On the last question, should we put the one we just learned about?
Which one?
On the bonus question?
The bonus question.
looks like Athena was very,
Yeah, that's fine.
very special.
Hmm. Yeah, they did like Athena a lot. Athena was the goddess of wisdom.
The transfer of wisdom out of cities.
Hmm. Athens, Greece, was named after Athena, and Athens is the capital of Greece.
I remember if like Athena was the only lady goddess.
Well, Dallin, to answer your question for number 25, they had to build all these places. How was it like art to build these places? Alex, quickly. Yeah, stuff like that. Not 2 more minutes? Is that enough time?
No, I'm only going to be
I'm gonna have to do bonus. You're allowed to bonus.
You got it. Oh, I made that small, didn't I? Sorry. Well, the whole page is about the one thing that they developed. So it's not a specific type of architecture, but a specific thing that they designed. Right. Do about 1 more minute. All right. So let's look at station number 8. We're getting close to being done. So station 8, we have 4 questions here. Okay. 28 says, in 25 words or less, so maybe like a sentence or 2, tell me everything I need to know about Herodotus. I don't even know who that is, so we're going to learn about him together. Number 29, why did Thucydides use primary resources to write about history? Okay, I don't know who that is either. Again, we'll learn things. Number 3, which wars do we learn? Number 30, which wars do we learn detailed information about because of the 2 ancient Greek historians? And number 31, the Greeks weren't the first civilization that ever existed. Why do you think it took so long before people started writing stuff down and actually keeping track of the history like the Greeks did? So let's go ahead and read
What was that?
Station 8.
What was those messengers called? I forgot.
I don't know what you mean.
Yeah.
Scrolls? What?
Is there one column in the left one that has the white?
No, I don't think so. All right, so Station 8, the history. The Greeks were among the first civilization to write down their own history. They did not just tell about stories from their past, they examined the past to determine the facts and significance of each historical event. Various things were used to record history, including an instrument called a stylus, papyrus, chisels, stone, and pottery. Herodotus has been called the father of history. He was interested in learning and recording the stories about events. Herodotus was born in 484 BC, and it is obvious from his writings that he was a seasoned traveler and regularly visited many places and cities. It would be fair to say that Herodotus was the first person of his time to actively travel around the world to report his accounts. He is famous for writing an account of the Persian Wars, called History, where he details the massive and deadly wars between the Greeks and the Persians. And then another historian, I can't say his name, Thucydides, who knows, wrote a history of the Peloponnesian War, which was fought between Sparta, and Athens. To make sure he was accurate, he used documents and eyewitness accounts to create his work. This approach set a standard for the writing of history of using primary sources to back up your findings. A primary resource is coming from the person that it happened to. So it's like you're not hearing it secondhand information, you're hearing it straight from the source of what happened in history. So most of the stuff that we read is secondary sources because we're not hearing it from the people. Okay? So primary sources means that it comes directly from the person that it happened to or that was there. Okay? So you got 4 questions on this one. This one's a little bit harder, so take your time. We'll give you at least 5 minutes on this one.
Because I know one thing that he was like in the 1945 was the election about who wrote the is that he made sure that he was correct.
He did, yeah. You can write that down for sure.
dumb. They're wrong. I know it's the only principle, but cave writing coming down.
Well, they were saying principles for like abuse history to write more history. Not just write it down in general. But like,
He interviewed them.
yeah, like why would you use primary resources instead of like theory information? Why would you use, like if you went to war, why would I ask you about it instead of asking? A couple more minutes on this one. I know we're going a bit quick, but we'll finish early and let you guys just work on stuff. I don't have anything else planned for today. Yeah, probably. It'll take about 2 more minutes. So they talked about 2 different wars. So, this part tells us, oh, there you go. That part tells us one of the wars that was written about. And then over here tells us where another war was written. So there's 2 wars that they wrote about. Herodotus wrote about one war, and the guy's name that starts with a T wrote about another war.
Oh,
Yeah.
Michelle, could you take Kaylin to the office for a moment?
Yeah. That's what the office does, yes. About 1 more minute and then we're going to look at station 9. I don't know if you guys heard me online, but we're going to finish up these 2 stations pretty quickly and then I'm just going to give you guys the time to work. I won't have you guys stay on here. You just need to know that this needs to be completed, basically. So we will finish these up pretty soon. She must just have it open. She must be helping someone. I don't know. Or she's just looking at it. Alrighty, I'm going to scroll down to station number 9's question. So station number 9 has 1, 2, 3, 4 questions. It says 32. What is philosophy? 33. What 2 things do all Greek philosophers agree on? So there's 2 things that they always agree on. 34. In 25 words or less, tell me everything that I need to know about Socrates. And 35. After Socrates, which 2 philosophers emerge and what do they do to become famous? So philosophers are people that are like telling you about life and all kinds of things. Okay? And then there's a little extra like example and question if you want to answer that at the bottom after we read it, you can. So let's read station 9. Philosophy. The definition is literally right there, just so you know. It says, philosophy is the study of the fundamental nature of knowledge, reality, and existence when considered as an academic discipline. So basically, philosophers are like, why are we here? Why is the world this way? They always ask the question why and try to find the answers of why. So, in the search to find answers, the Greeks developed philosophy, or the study of basic truths and ideas about the universe. Greek philosophers had 2 basic ideas about the universe. This is an answer right here. First, they assumed that the universe is put together in an orderly way. They believed that the laws of nature control the universe. And second, the philosophers assumed that people could understand these laws. The philosophers used these 2 ideas when they sought the truth. So those are the 2 things that they always think about, okay? And I'm going to scroll down a little bit. Over a period of time, Greece had many famous philosophers. One of them was Socrates, who lived from 470 to 399 BC. He encouraged his young students to examine their beliefs by asking them a series of questions. This question and answer style teaching is called the Socratic method. You will actually do this type of thing in high school. There's something called a Socratic seminar. It's like discussions, like you have discussions about things. I hated them when I was growing up. Now I like them, but hated them in high school. Young people liked the teaching of Socrates because his enemies accused him of causing young people to rebel. They brought him to trial, and Socrates told the court that he was teaching young people to think about their values and actions. The jury did not agree with his actions and sentenced him to death. Socrates died by drinking a poison called hemlock. A poison.
Just there.
One of Socrates' best students was Plato. This is another good one of the answers to a question. One of Socrates' best students was Plato. He was born around 427 BC. Plato wrote about an ideal government in a book titled The Republic. He did not describe a democracy. Instead, he believed that a philosopher king should rule. This king should be wise, calm, and reasonable, just like a philosopher. Plato started an important school of higher learning called the Academy. The Academy stayed open for about 900 years. Aristotle, another philosopher after Socrates, Aristotle, Aristotle was Plato's brightest student. Aristotle lived from 384 to 322 BC. He invented a method of debating that followed the rules of logic, and later the rules of logic were applied to studies in science. Aristotle opened his own school in Athens called the Lyceum. In addition to this great philosophical work, Aristotle also spent 3 years tutoring Alexander the Great. Yoshi?
Did they still have like those statues from a long time ago?
What?
I said, did they still have those statues from a long time ago?
Yes.
What the heck?
Sorry?
I think it means science studies.
What the
I don't know what.
It says science studies.
No, they applied their studies. So what they were studying, they applied it to science. Yeah. All right, I'm going to give you guys 5 minutes to work on 32 through 35, please.
What is a philosopher? The philosophy. What to bring to all the all. what's that mean? Yeah. Oh, wait. Those are the official points. I didn't even see that. That's like a legacy. No.
Okay, about 2 more minutes, and then we're gonna look at our last one.
Is this a question? No.
The last part. No, it's just like something that you could do is like a little bit of extra, but you don't need to.
I can't.
Okay, about 1 more minute on 32 through 35.
Yeah.
I can't find the answer.
I can't even. No, I can't find the answer.
Wait, are you saying you can't find the answers to station 6 or number 6? My God, Alex, we are like 30 ahead of you.
I mean, you can go back after.
Yeah, but I also walk past and see Alex just staring at the screen every time I walk past. So, let's look at station number 7. We have 36, 37, just 36 and 37 to finish here. 36 says 6 astronomers. What's an astronomer?
Someone that goes up to space.
Close. An astronomer just studies space, and astronaut is the one that goes to space, right? So astronomers just study space. So 6 astronomers and mathematicians are listed on this station. What's a mathematician?
But what if you're an astronaut and
You can be an astronaut and an astronomer.
studying information?
You can, but if you think about this in context of ancient Greek people, do you think they were going to space?
Probably not.
Probably not. So they were only technically astronomers at that time and not astronauts because they didn't have the technology to actually go to space yet. And then, so we have astronomers and mathematicians. What's a mathematician? Basically, someone that studies math and is good at math. Yeah. So, yeah. So on this station, on this next thing that I will read, there are 6 astronomers and mathematicians listed. You're going to name them and describe what they did to change the world. So basically, what did they invent or what did they discover? And 37 says, why are you learning about scientists and mathematicians in social studies class? So just apply that and think about that as we go over the next one on your own. Okay. So our next one, station 10, is about science and technology. I'm going to start on the left over here with astronomy.
So, but on the Poland, do we listening and then on ABC and in the
Yeah, so on each one, so A, you will list the first scientist and what they discovered. Part B is the second scientist and what they discovered. So each one has a different astronomer or mathematician, and you tell me what they discovered. Okay? So astronomy. Some important discoveries about the planets and the stars came from the scientists studying at Alexandria, Egypt. For instance, Eratosthenes. That's going to be one of the names that you want to write down. I don't know how to say it. And then he found a way to estimate the circumference or the distance around the Earth. So he discovered how far around the Earth it is. Okay. Our next one, the scientist Ptolemy studied the universe. Unfortunately for the world of science, Ptolemy placed the Earth at the center of the universe, And this incorrect view persisted for 1,400 years. So our next scientist is Ptolemy, and what did he study, or what did he contribute to the world? Okay. Next one is another scientist at Alexandria, Aristarchus, I can't say these names, Aristarchus, studied the relationships of the moon, the sun, and the earth to each other. He also estimated the size of the sun. So there's our next scientist. Those ones on the left are the astronomers, the people that studied space. On the right, we have our mathematicians, our math and physics.
Wait, which one? Two people or one person?
Which one?
Bottom of the left.
This one?
Uh-huh.
It's two. Alexandria is the city that they were studying in. Aristarchus is the person. Okay. Alex, stay seated, please. Math and physics. The first noted female mathematician, Hypatia, I don't know, taught at Alexandria. Hypatia was also an astronomer. She wrote about the works of Ptolemy and geometry and was also the leader of a philosophical movement based on the works of Plato. So,
Are there, so on the third paragraph, is it naming two scientists?
on this one,
No, it's naming one.
you mean this paragraph?
Yeah.
No.
How many places are there in Egypt, that are that are part of Greece?
A lot of places are in Greece. So no, Dylan, Alexandria is the city that they were studying in. Aristarchus is the scientist. Okay, and then over there we just talked about a female mathematician. Our next one, Archimedes explained the law of the lever. As an inventor, he developed the compound pulley. And by lever, we literally mean like a lever that you pull. So he created how to make that thing work. He also believed that he's also believed to have created a device to lift water. He intended his water lifting device to be used for the irrigation of fields. The ideas of Archimedes were used to build pumps and eventually to create a steam engine. Okay, and finally, known as the father of geometry, the mathematician Euclid created a geometry textbook complete with theories, proofs, and methods that are still used in many classrooms until the early 20th century. The work of Euclid is still the basis for geometry. So, there is our 6 astronomers and mathematicians. So you need to write down the names of each of them and what they discovered or how they contributed to science or math. And then answer number 37. Why would we study this in social studies? Each box is a different one. So the circle is one person. The 2 boxes on the left are 2 different people. The 2 purple boxes are 2 different people. And then this triangular one is the next one.
Social studies is about, like, history.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so why would we study math and science when we're supposed to be studying social studies, history, right? Okay, so just really quick, that is all that we are doing for social studies today. I'm not going to have it go